Hi guys, haven't done a video in a while, thought I'd go ahead and do one. I'm actually going to be doing several over the course of a while because I've got a lot to talk about and I don't want to do like a 3-hour long video. I will start by saying, yes, I voted for Trump, and now I will explain, first of all, why I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. It had nothing to do with the fact of her gender. It had nothing to do with the fact of her ethnicity. Okay? It had to do with the fact that she was a flat out liar. She wouldn't give a straight answer to any question given to her. She was given questions and all she could say was, "Oh, I grew up in a middle-class family, and I worked at McDonald's for a summer." McDonald's has no record of her ever working for them, and they keep those records, okay? They don't throw out those records, and they have no record of her ever working for them. Okay, she claimed, well, when she wasn't doing that, she was going to her patented catchphrases. That whole thing about unburdened by what has been. And after listening to it enough times, I kind of understood what she was trying to say is we can progress without letting our past be a factor, which I sort of agree with, I sort of don't. Your past makes you who you are, okay? The mistakes you've made in the past rule how you decide what to do in the future. If you make a cake and you put salt in it instead of sugar, okay? If you're making it by scratch and you put salt in instead of sugar and it comes out crap, you think to yourself, well, I'm not doing that again. You don't say, I'm just going to go ahead and make a cake. And if I put salt in it, so whatever. Okay? But then you had the fact that I don't know who she is. I don't even think she knows who she is. Because every time she went to a rally, she completely changed, whether it was her vocabulary, if she spoke with a higher vocabulary or a more simplified one. Her accent. When she went to the South, she got all Southern twang, and no, you don't do that. When she was speaking to Muslims, she was all pro-Palestine. When she spoke to the Jewish people, she was all pro-Israel. And also, much of what she put into her speeches was either ripped off of Biden's speeches or ripped off Hillary Clinton's speeches. The woman needs, I don't know if she wrote her own speeches or not, but whoever was writing her speeches needed to come up with some new material, because that's just ridiculous. Okay? And Trump, wherever he went, he said the same thing to everybody, and he said it as himself. Okay? And I think two things that helped him. One was actually the day he got shot in the ear. And instead of scampering away, he came back up after the Secret Service got off him, and he was like, fight, 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 okay? And that shows he was not going to be scared off. He's a New York boy, okay? He grew up in New York. He's not going to be scared off that easily. And then they tried to shoot him again on the golf course. And he called his friend who was supposed to go golfing with him, and he was upset about the fact that he was going to get an eagle on the 5th hole. And then that guy showed up, and he had to quit golfing for that day. Okay? And the second thing that won the election for him was when he went back to Butler, Pennsylvania, and had another rally. And the first thing he did when he started his speech was, as I was saying, and looked to his right. I mean, I had to laugh at that, because that's just, I mean, he's got big brass ones. You cannot deny that fact, whatever political party you are, whatever your leanings are, whether they're liberal or conservative. This guy, he doesn't get scared. And I'm sure that already, since he became president-elect, he's gotten on the phone and he's made some calls. He's probably called Putin. He's probably called President Xi. He's probably called Kim Jong-un, or whatever his name is, the leader of North Korea. And he's called all these leaders of all these nations and said, y'all need to get your stuff straight. All right? Putin, back out. You don't want me getting involved. You had a free pass with Biden, maybe. But with me, you know better. Back out of there. And he said himself, Trump said himself, when he was asked who he wanted to win the wars, he said, I just want people to stop dying. Okay? How could he possibly be a fascist Nazi? I mean, I'm going to say something now that's probably not going to make me too popular with people. But if anybody is fascist and Nazistic, it would have to be the so-called liberals. Because, I mean, I try to accept people for who they are. You know? Whereas the liberals, if you're straight, if you're white, if you're cisgendered, which I don't even like that word really, if you live as the gender you were born, which is how God intended you to be, if you live the way you were born and it's not the way that they want you to be, they lose their ever-loving minds. They are like, no, 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 oh no. And we're going to live the way we're born, but you've got to go by our rules. I'll have a whole other video about the LGBT, etc. community. But right now, I just want to talk about Trump and his cabinet, who a lot of people, some on both sides, have been confused by who he has chosen for the different departments. I see absolutely no problem with who he's chosen. He chose former military guy to be Secretary of Defense. He chose a guy who's a former New York police officer to be in charge of immigration. Okay? Tom Homan, he is in a lot of ways like Trump. He talks straight. He shoots straight from the hip. He doesn't take crap. And if you ask him something, if you ask him, did you sign this paper? If he signed it, he said, yeah, I signed it. And when, I forget which one it was, might have been AOC, might have been someone else, who asked him, how do you see not separating families with the zero tolerance policy? He said, the ones who are legal can go with them if they want. And I'm paraphrasing there. But he's like, the rest of them can go too. There are a bunch of celebrities, as well as just people in America, who have said, if Trump wins, I'm leaving the country. Now, some of them actually did it this time. They said the same thing in 2016, and nobody went anywhere that I know of. I'm pretty sure Oprah said she was going to leave in 2016. She didn't. And as far as I'm concerned, a lot of these celebrities, or at least some of these celebrities that have left the country or are going to leave the country, I really like your work, okay? You've acted in some great stuff. You've sung some great songs. You've written some great books in the past. But just because you decide that you're not going to be an American anymore, that's not going to bother me a bit. And I'm going to say a quick word about the conservative reactions in 2016 and in 2024. I can't remember if I said anything about it. 2016, when Trump won over Hillary, and everybody was crying, bawling, screaming no. I thought it was absolutely absurd. I laughed at him. I thought, this is ridiculous. These people are nuts. Then 2020 happened, and Biden got elected instead of Trump. You didn't see us conservatives having meltdowns and screaming and crying and, oh my God, how could you do this to us? And even seeing how badly the Biden administration went with the illegal immigration and millions of people climbing walls when there's a gate, okay? But they're climbing walls, and a lot of them are gang members, drug traffickers. The amount of fentanyl that's come into this country over the last 4 years is sickening, because all you have to do is touch that stuff and you can overdose, okay? I saw an article about a police officer, a policewoman, who she pulled over somebody on a traffic stop, found something in the back of the car that apparently was fentanyl. She touched it, and just from touching it, she nearly died of an overdose. They had to use that Narcan stuff on her several times till the ambulance got there, because she was stopping breathing, okay? But you didn't see, we conservatives, yeah, we said, Biden, this administration's crap, but you didn't see us losing our minds over it. And then Trump saw how badly Biden was doing and said, I'm going to run again. He said himself, I'd rather be on the beach somewhere than doing this, but I'm needed in the White House. And when election night, November 5th, 2024 came, I stayed up all night. I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning Excuse me. I stayed up until I knew for certain that Donald Trump was going to be president and that I could sleep soundly. And I did. But I also saw that when that guy at Howard University came out to the election night party goers, and they had started out, they were singing, they were dancing, they were partying all over the place. And then as the hours went by, things slowed down and they started sitting down and they started looking depressed. And then that guy who came out and spoke on behalf of Kamala and let them know she's not coming out tonight to give a speech. She will give a speech in the morning, but y'all can go ahead and go home and get some sleep. And they left Howard University grounds trashed. Absolutely garbage everywhere. And I mean, how little respect does that show for both Howard University and Kamala Harris? These people are supposed to be her supporters. These people are supposed to be making a good impression. Okay? But they left that place trashed. Okay? And then, and I know I'm saying okay a lot. I apologize. And then I watched the 2024 election night reactions, next morning reactions of the so-called, of the liberals. And they're doing the same thing pretty much they did last time in 2016. Except this time, I'm not laughing. I'm worried about these people's mental health. There are people who are threatening arson, assault, murder, or even just wishing people would die. They are screaming and videotaping or videoing themselves screaming. Me saying videotaping gives you an idea of how old I am. But they are recording themselves screaming, crying, saying they lost family and friends over the fact that Trump was elected. No. You didn't lose them. You gave them away. You gave up on your family and friends. The women who are saying they're going to do that 4B thing, which is apparently women giving up men completely for at least the next 4 years. What's the point? Okay? And just all of them that are just, it's not funny anymore. Now, some of the content creators, they laugh at some of these. The lady who was sitting behind the steering wheel of her car set up her phone, then started screaming, why? There's no point to that. The election is over. Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. And unless you plan on following those celebrities, you need to just calm down, chill out, and accept the fact that your president isn't the one that you voted for. Okay? For months before election night, I don't get much money. My mom is on Social Security. I'm on disability. But we had been planning on, for months, if that woman wins, we'll move to another country. We'll move to South America or Mexico or Central America. You know, we will move out of this country and live off of what we have. And like I said, between us, we don't even get $2,500 a month in income. Because like I said, she is old and disabled. I'm just disabled. Okay? I could get a job, but I can't hold a job. But the money we have, excuse me again, we would go to Central or South America or Mexico, which is technically part of North America. A lot of people don't know that. We would live down there. It's probably cheaper. We might have gone to Venezuela, because apparently the president of Venezuela has been bragging about how the crime rate is 72% lower than it was. Okay? We might have moved to Venezuela if Trump had lost. But no, Trump won. I'm relieved. A lot of other people are relieved. And the people who are conservative, liberals and Democrats and all that, we have been asked to accept you and your ideals and your ways of living for years, okay? For a long time. All we're asking, and I'm not authorized to speak for the conservatives, but I think that most conservatives would agree with me when I say, all we're asking is that you let us live the way we are allowed to live now. Okay? Now, just because we're conservatives does not mean that we are racist, misogynistic, any of that. We just want to live and live free the way that you have asked for years, for the last 8 years at least. Okay, maybe if I count the Obama administration, 16 years at least. But just, would y'all please just quit losing your minds over the fact that Trump has won? Election night's over. Trump won. And can't come after me if you want. Hopefully not physically. But if y'all have something to say to me, if you want to have a reasonable discourse, I'm all for that. I was willing to have a reasonable discourse before the election. I'm willing to have a reasonable discourse now. But I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I think I've said everything I want to say for now. I think the next time I talk, I'm not sure actually yet what my next video will be about. But stay tuned. I'll have one released probably within the next week. And hopefully you'll watch it. And hopefully you'll have something to say about it one way or the other. Hit the like button if you want. Hit the dislike button if you want. Share it if you want. Share it if you don't. Share it if you don't want. I'm just telling you what I think. Okay? And it is almost 9:30 at night. I've been talking for almost half an hour. I'm going to wish y'all a good night. And y'all take care. And hopefully, one way or another, y'all are going to do better over the next week. Okay? Talk to you later.